Hi, my name is Mike Jackman. I'm the new head coach for Centennial College men's basketball. Okay, the way you're communicating with your teammates and talking, the positivity you have. In this last practice, what I'm looking for is your energy personally. I want to see who has a lot of energy.
How does it feel to be a head coach of a collegiate basketball team?
Honestly, it's still a surreal feeling for me. It's one of those things that, it kind of came a little bit sooner than I thought. You always think you're ready, which you are ready, but you just never know when you're going to have to be ready for it. And, the time came for me to be ready now. And I think it's a pivotal time in my own life as well as I transition in my own career outside of basketball too, as being a teacher as well in the future. So having this aspect without to being a head coach of a college basketball team is something that I've always wanted, but to do it in my own backyard now, in Scarborough, being from Scarborough, it's like one of those things that you can't make up, right? And it's just one of those things that it's a dream for a kid that's literally grew up watching, I'm talking about Denham Brown, Trevon Shepard. I'm talking about some Scarborough legends in that old Centennial gym back in the day. We used to host some legendary games, and now I'm getting a chance to hopefully bring some legendary games in our future here at the Centennial. So it's a dream. So surreal, but it feels great. I know I have a huge responsibility on me, but I know I'm built for this. I'm ready for it. So yeah. Like that. Don't cheat that. You gotta be sure. You gotta be sure.
Now you are a head coach of the Centennial. So I want to back up a little bit first and ask, so you played in the U.S., then you went to Algoma. Where did you go after you finished playing?
So after I finished playing, I actually just had a couple of stints of trying to play pro myself. Exactly, Thomas Corey tried to hold a Portugal route, and then back in the day, they had a league before the CBL called the NBL. So I had a couple of pro camps with that, teams called the Oshawa Power back in the day at the time, and the team called the Windsor Express as well. So I had a couple of trials for that, and didn't really go as prosperous as I wanted. So I just got a regular day-to-day 9-to-5 job afterwards, and I started, opening up my own ability to want to coach youth. So I started doing a lot more things with the grassroots level, with things like the underprivileged neighborhoods like Jayden Finch, Regent Park, Lawrence Heights community, Scarborough, little inner cities that are suffering from underserviced stuff. So I did kind of things like that nature, but mostly that was basically what was it. Just try to kind of pro stint, didn't really go as well as I thought it would go, and I just ended up getting a 9-to-5 job and ended up wanting to coach youth and giving back in that aspect after that.
Are you locally from the GTA or where within the GTA?
Yeah, I'm from Scarborough. I always crack the joke, but I actually grew up over a bridge, literally from Centennial College. So I live in that little community of Milner Avenue area. So definitely Scarborough. I meant it when I said that. Scarborough is my blood. I've been here for a long time, since I was 14, and I know the landscape of what the city has to offer culturally and just on a diverse level. So I love it here.
When did you get your first opportunity to coach at the college level?
It was about 3 to 4 years ago. I got hit up by the former coach here, Coach Challenger, and he brought me in as an interim coach at the time. I was just a player development, so at the time I was kind of known as a guy to train a lot of these elite athletes coming in and helping them kind of found on their skill set before they went to post-secondary school. So I got into that way, and after that, like I said, I started running my own programming, and he started seeing me train and be able to coach athletes. So him seeing those two attributes in me, I got hired on as a coach in my second year, and his ball has been rolling ever since then. But yeah, I would say 3 years ago, I definitely got my first chance in 2019, 2018, coming in and being an interim coach and just developing players there first to get a kind of landscape of what college basketball had to have.
What experiences did you bring from your time coaching youth to coaching elite amateur athletes in the college level?
Right. So I think the experience I took was just how much I cared for humans at the time, and I realized that translated to caring about young men. I thought it was a great transitional stage for me because I'm helping these young men make decisions of what college they want to go to, and now I'm helping young men in college figure out how to be young men in life. So I thought for me that transitional part was so important an experience of having that grassroots level to wanting now to do it in college. It added so much on top of just training and having great athletes and great kids and stuff of that nature. Is just making sure I improve humans is what I always vast to show who I am as a person, and always want that to be my main attribute and characteristic of myself, is just always caring about improving humans. Yeah.
You turn on the ball, you look at your teammate, yo, it's okay, next one. Have you seen that? Have you seen positivity? So energy.
Positive energy.
Positive energy.
What are some of the lessons that you have taken from your time as a player that you want to translate to your team?
Right. I think that's a great question. I think some of the greatest things I've learned from that is, nothing's given to you on a silver platter. You have to work for what you want, and I think that goes from sporting and in life. And I want to definitely use that as a transitional stage for a lot of my athletes coming in. Is just nothing's only given to you; everything's earned. You have to earn things to earn respect and to earn trust, right? So that's one thing I learned a lot, especially trying to play pro and just being resilient. Because sometimes one door shots, you can't give up, right? You can't give up. You have to keep going. You got to keep pushing, and you have to see the good in things that sometimes may end prematurely than you thought, and just keep striving for more. So those two aspects are my key things I want to bring in my first year. Here is just understanding that the hard work is really going to be hard work here, and having to push through things when things don't always go your way. Because the better you are as being resilient, the better you are to have that as a quality as a human, as a character. So I want to bring those two things in.
We're running again, as simple as that. Huh? Everyone's running again. Go!
You're a school teacher and also are a head coach of a collegiate basketball team. How do those two parts of your life mesh together?
Yeah, so for me, those things mesh together because, I'm helping humans. Once again, I'm helping young kids from like grade 1 to 8. And then I have a huge contrast where I'm helping young men from 19 to 25. So end of the day, it's coaching. It's giving the ability to give skills, give a skill set. It gives me the ability to communicate what's right and wrong on either level. So, it translates beautiful together because at the end of the day, it's about helping humans. It's helping people aspire to be better. So to me, it interrelates very well.
As a collegiate basketball coach, there's a lot of responsibility that you have. How do you plan to approach handling the majority of the responsibility in terms of where the team goes and where the team doesn't go?
Right. So, I think for me, I got to take things season by season, mid-season by mid-season, and just progress from there. There's a lot of pressure on me definitely to bring a change here and culture change. But, my first start is just making sure I have kids that are responsible and accountable for each other. I have kids that respect each other. I have kids that want to be here. I think to me that's my greatest challenge, is to make sure that happens again. We have a great culture and environment here, and that we pack the stands again and have some life here again. So I think my responsibility is just to make sure that the culture's changed and the environment's changed. And I think once you have that, that's the biggest buy you want as a coach, and then everything else can translate to winning after that, right? But you must win first with culture and environment.
New culture, new environment. Understand the task, right? Understand the task.
All right, split up, 6 and 6, let's go.
Who are some coaches that have inspired you in your career that you may look to from a distance to help with you in this new role?
That's a very good question. I watch a lot of coaches coached over the years. So I love the Dave Smarts of the world. I love the old school Bobby Knight. Was it Bobby McKnight, or if I said that right? The Mike Krzyzewski's. I've watched a lot of those coaches countless times. Just their strategies, how they cater to personalities, build self. So those are coaches I grew up kind of watching myself and aspiring to want to not be like them, but have an attitude where they have a culture where people respect each other, right? So those guys I grew up watching my whole life. And I'll be honest, no NCAA, there's a lot of legendary coaches. Thomas Corey's been a coach a long time. You had the Sharon Bruins coach there, Jim Flack has been there for a while. I love how he's been coaching well. You have Jay McNeely at Seneca. You have Omar Miles, and before that there was somewhere else at Humber. So I watched these coaches, how they conduct themselves on winning and wanting a culture of winning, and they've done it for many years, and they've been in their job for many years. And I expect to want to be doing the same and try to model my attributes of who I am as a coach onto my players and the culture here.
How does your time as a player at a high level influence being in the position of a head coach?
I think it influenced a lot because, for me, I'm a player's coach. I'm a former player. I may be in, my mid-30s right now, but I'm not too far away from playing the game, right? So a lot of these guys are playing the game now. I've played it about 10 years ago or so. So me being able to give back and understand when they're frustrated or when they're mad, I can relate to that better than just being a coach. To just understand how my athletes mentally are feeling, because I think me knowing that I'm a former player and I'm being able to help my guys cater on that mental level is huge for me, because I can respond and have them respond to me in certain ways that maybe other coaches can't that weren't former players.
What do you think one of the hardest things is for college basketball players to do, accept, and how do you plan to, based on your experience, to help them with that?
I think the biggest thing a lot of college athletes stress and worry about is time management, and how to create a structure of being a student athlete. So I think my biggest thing is having that for them, because that's usually the biggest mental strain. How do I handle a 24-game season plus like a schoolwork on top of that, right? So I think my biggest thing is understanding how I can alleviate that stress by giving them resources and tips of how to be better student athletes and time management, because at the end of the day, that's when you learn that in college. A lot of people that are ready for university because they already have those aspects. Like a lot of people are in college because they need to take a slower process of how to be more accountable and responsible. So we're here to help them do that and to help lead them that way, right? So that's our responsibility as college coaches and as college leaders.
What are the 3 most important characteristics you look for in players that you recruit?
Man, I look for their character. I look for their hunger, and I look for, the biggest thing is their communication skills. Reason I look for their character because I want to know how you are when you're down 10 or 5. I want to know if you shake my hand properly, you say my first and last name, right? I want to know, if you have that hunger in your belly to want to win in life, not even on the court, in life, right? Do better. And the last part is just I want to know that you want to do things because you want to better yourself, right? So those 3 things are very important to me when it comes to me recruiting, and I strategically always look for that. Thank God, like my last job for the last 2 years has been being a recruiter for Centennial, so I always look for those 3 things first.
What do you look for in a coaching staff to support you?
I look for a voice of reasoning, but people that are loyal and trusting the process. But you want people that respect your decision and leadership, but as well as give you valid reasoning of why they feel a certain way as well. So I think for me the most important thing is just having that loyalty and trust, and people that can be voices of reasoning for me on my coaching staff this year.
What are you looking forward to most as the fall approaches?
Man, I was just talking to everybody on the outside. I'm looking for the fans, man. I'm looking for us to have fans again. I'm looking for us to have an 18-game season again, and just us. I'm looking for my guys that are coming in, 9 rookies, showing what they got, right? And on top of the guys that already have returning about 3 or 4 returners. So I'm looking for all that to be excited for and anxious for it to get going, because I think that's missing again. And it's just that cultural piece of what our community used to be like when our fans were stand and we had the little cowbells going and all those little what do you call those things? Bam bams, right? All those things going in. I want that aspect of college basketball here again. So I know our guys are missing it too.
What's your favorite memory as a player?
Man, my favorite memory as a player has to be when at Algonquin we hosted OCAA's, and we did it at like this big Edicare Center, which they hosted I guess the OHL team, the Sioux Greyhounds there, and it was packed, like 4,000 fans. They brought like the elementary schools and like parents and people from around the community took the day off to watch us play. It just showed me like how much people love basketball, how much people want to support Algoma University when I was a former player. Just that aspect of just remembering that and just having photos and videos and the social media stuff that led up to that at that time was just amazing for me, because as a player it's like you always want to be in the Elite 8, but to host an Elite 8 in your own city and to win and to have the team and the community cheer you on, it was amazing. Yeah.
I want to have a little bit of fun on these last few ones. What's the best basketball movie in your opinion?
So I actually love The Way Back, and I love The Hoosiers. I like the old school stories that have to do with like coaches like me, just community coaches. They coach like random a girls team and a men's team, like just a random just from the gutter and just made it, and just their storyline is just beautiful because it's true. They're just coaching for fun, and someone thought they can coach better and on an elite level, and then bam, they made it, and they helped their players make it too. So I like those 2 movies, and obviously the Bob McKnight movie is it's a classic one too, right?
I thought you were gonna say maybe Coach Carter because of the dealing with undisciplined teams, climbing up. I don't know, but
You know, I did like Coach Carter. I did. Coach Carter was good, but those two movies stood out to me the most, just because their storylines were coaches that were never supposed to be coaches, right? At a high level, yeah.
Jordan or LeBron?
Oh my gosh, Jordan all day, Jordan all day. But I mean, LeBron and the respect he has for over the last 10 years is unreal. Like, I was watching some of the NBA draft classes, so like, who's your favorite player? Everyone said LeBron James. No one said anybody else, LeBron James. So just the impact he's had on like years is just unreal. But Michael Jordan is just Michael Jordan. Like, you can't test that guy at all.
Who's the best college coach of all time?
I'm biased, but you know, Mike Krzyzewski for sure. But you know, I would think for me, I would say top three: Mike Krzyzewski, Bill Self, and oh my gosh, he just retired there from North Carolina. Roy Williams.
Yeah, Roy Williams. That's it, Roy Williams.
I got help from the audience there. Roy Williams. Yeah, top three.
I think that's pretty much it. Like,
right.
we can keep going, but like obviously, like unless someone's willing to watch a 2-hour documentary, like you can test the family. I'm sure they
Yeah,
watch.
we're good. We're good.